SDO Associates, a growing company here in Swindon, and we're going right back to the beginning to find where it came from. Delighted to say, joined by the main man himself, Stuart Olden. Should I say Stu or Stuart?
Stu's great.
I was going to say, that's all I know you
unless I'm in trouble.
I know that feeling. If I'm called Christopher, I panic as well. Yeah.
Good to be here, Chris.
Obviously, Stuart Olden, as in SDO Associates.
Yeah.
See how I worked that out?
Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
Yeah. You should be a detective.
I try my best. How do you, I mean, we'll go into a little bit more detail, but could you describe SDO in one sentence?
Yeah, sure. So the company supports engineering and technology organisations with access and growth within the defence and aerospace sectors.
You did it.
I did it.
One sentence.
It's almost like I practiced that.
I'm impressed. I mean, I understand the sectors it's aiming for. Who are the clients, though?
Yeah, sure. So our clients are predominantly SMEs, so small and medium enterprises. So they're generally organisations that perhaps don't have the capability or the knowledge within defence, but know they have a product or service that relates to what defence is looking for. So we're really looking to help them out with their commercial and business development activity and give them advice and handhold them through the process.
Because it does feel like it's an iron door.
Absolutely. Well, I think there's several iron doors.
Well,
and once you get through one iron door, then there's another iron door. So it very much is understanding the landscape. Predominantly, it's about networks and having the right relationships to enable that engagement. And
that's the advantage of the military and the aerospace as well, isn't it? I know why they're going to have those iron doors up, but they could be missing out on something that would help them dramatically.
Yeah, and I think they recognise that, and there's a lot been going on over the last few years with defence reform, as they call it, to try and make themselves more accessible. They generally want to engage with the innovative organisations in this country. You know, we're a great country for innovation, good ideas. Look at all of the sort of good products and ideas that have been generated from the UK in the past. But unfortunately, some of the larger public sector organisations, you know, bureaucracy creeps in and it gets a bit difficult to deal with quite agile organisations. So that's really why we set up the company, to help them.
And that why is where I'm going to delve in a little bit. I know that you kind of do this part kicking and screaming to some extent, but I've heard it and was really interested as a fellow Swindon business owner that there's just a fab business story, but it also adds a lot of credibility to SDO Associates. So I am going to go there. Go right back. Army background yourself.
Yeah, so joined the Army as a very young 16-year-old. Straight out of school or college, and wanted to do stuff with my hands. I was very sort of physical and wanted to learn, and very interested in engineering. So the ideal opportunity was to join the Army and join the Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers. So I joined as a young apprentice, electronics apprentice. Did a couple of years there, and then sort of went through into my Army career, yeah.
Up all the way to senior manager, I believe.
Yeah, so I left as a major, did 24 years. Great career. That young 16-year-old turned into a very broken 40-year-old with bad knees and a bad back. But yeah, the career between that was fantastic. I wouldn't have wished for anything else.
I love the engineering side. What's the... It's now a museum over at Lynham.
Yep, so that is the Remy Museum.
Yeah,
so
loved it.
I originally went to Arborfield in Reading, where the Remy School of Training was for both young apprentices like myself and also adult entry. But that then moved to Lynham, to the old RAF base, and that's where it is now. And, you know, I still go back to that museum. I take my son and grandson and granddaughter, And it pains me to say that some of the equipment I worked on is in that museum.
I guess that's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, makes me feel very old.
I have to say, I was hugely proud. When was it? End of last summer holidays, school summer holidays. My then 13, she's now 14-year-old daughter, I think it was the last day, and we sort of said, what do you want to do? She chose that she wanted to go to the Remy Museum.
Fantastic.
Realised that
Did you get her signed up? Or,
no, not yet. Given her choices for now. Yeah. But I'd not been either, which is I feel ashamed of. Unbelievable. And I tell you what, there's a lot more to it than you realise, isn't there? To those roles and the things that were achieved.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, the history goes all the way back to 1942, Battle of El Alamein. You know, Monty was on the back foot, and, you know, the Remy was formed from the Royal Army Service Corps, and it was really there to help to win the battle and get equipment back into the hands of the troops as quickly as possible so that they could push home the advantage. And, you know, thankfully that's what happened.
Sad that to some they're the unsung heroes, aren't they? As in they are unsung, not that they're heroes.
No, absolutely. But, you know, a lot of the guys and girls that I've worked with almost want to be that. They want to be the people that just get on and do it, provide the equipment for the guys to go off and do what they need to do.
No, it makes sense. And they had an ice hockey team, which I was delighted to see from the museum.
Very good,
It's a personal aside there. You then got into procurement in there. So this is where we've got the military background. Then we start turning this corner into what is very relevant to SDO Associates, is that you got into procurement. Yeah,
so in the late 90s, I spent some time in an organisation that was bringing to service the then main battle tank, the Challenger 2, and still in service now, but we're moving to the next iteration of that. And worked in order to make sure that industry was delivering what it said it was going to deliver. So I worked on the turret systems, looking at how they had developed the systems, how they worked with the crew. So making sure that the human-machine interface was working. Also, the fact things like publications were correct and they were able to be used by the engineers that needed to repair and maintain the equipment. So quite a heavy couple of years before we then brought it into service. And proud to say that it's had 20 odd years in service since.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. Then comes the really interesting part to me, is the F1 chapter, as in F1 engineers, and we had a need for respiratory systems.
The ventilator challenge.
Tell us a little bit about that.
When I was working with Williams Formula One, the engineering spin-out called Williams Advanced Engineering, obviously we were all as a nation plunged into COVID. I went and saw the MD because I saw that the NHS and the government was looking for support in developing ventilators that were seen to really be needed for all the patients, unfortunately, that had respiratory problems, and there wasn't enough ventilators in the UK. So we got a group of engineers together, about 50 F1 engineers from across Williams Advanced Engineering, and we joined up with other defence and Formula One companies to re-engineer a 1950s, 1960s design where there wasn't any drawings or paperwork. It was basically all in the guys' heads that were on the production line. And we managed to, or the designers did, manage to re-engineer that in matters of days. We put that all into the CAD system, and then we started to understand how we were going to manufacture and build that. And we set up a manufacturing line and started to churn these equipments out so they could be used in the NHS. Really satisfying project, hugely long hours, but you didn't mind. It was something that was helping people and helping the nation.
A proud moment.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It has to be.
It was brilliant. Yeah.
That's the biggest story that has always stood out from me on several levels. The ridiculousness that there was no drawings of these things.
Yeah, but it often happens with those sort of long long service equipments, that those sort of things get lost, and it's very much in the heads of the people that are working in the company. But yeah.
Absolutely amazing, and it got them back out and saved a lot of lives.
Yeah,
in reality,
absolutely.
Brilliant. You basically became. Have you seen the program House? You know, the medical one where he's working out what's wrong with people. You were kind of the engineering version.
Well, yeah, I it was the guys.
The royal guys
that did all the work. I just project managed it.
I love it. Where, following this, did SDO start coming along, either in your mind or physically?
Yeah, I think ever since I left the military, and I'd worked with industry and post the sort of Challenger 2 thing, I also went back and worked in Abbey Wood in the procurement system for a few years as well. And I really enjoyed that industry engagement. But I also saw that, as I said before, there's lots of good innovation and good ideas out there that perhaps don't make it into an equipment for the military. So I'd always had it in my mind, to do something for myself. I call it my third career, basically. And I wanted to own my own business anyway and run my own business. But I also wanted it to be around engineering and supporting those innovative organisations to try and give them a boost up, really. So, that's where it started from. And then when I left Williams Advanced Engineering, I set up the business. My wife jokes that it was supposed to be a retirement gig. It was supposed to be 2 to 3 days a week. But I was enjoying it so much, and it got a lot of traction, that we decided to turn it into a business. And 4.5 years later, here we are. Yeah.
So what was it, February 2022?
Yeah, 22. Yeah.
What do they say? Run your own business, that I can relate to, is that, they say you can work your own hours when it's your own business. Yeah, all of them.
All of them. Yeah. There's 24 in a day.
Exactly.
So
no one tells you that bit, do they? I get it. Is that which way round is that? Gatherer turned hunter rather than hunter turned gatherer, is that you saw, and this is what must be so rewarding for you, is that I know your main discussion there is the people with the innovation of products or services, unable to sort of know who to speak to, where to start, then how to get through those doors, etc. But you've taken this from the inside angle that's gone, we're missing out on this. So you are genuinely helping both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. And we call ourselves a sort of matchmaker between buyers and suppliers. So we naturally fit in that central position and pivot between the two organisations. And exactly that, we can help our clients who are looking for support in understanding where to position their effort. Because as you well know, in an SME, you've only got limited resource, you've got limited time, and you've got limited cash. So you really need to understand where you're going to put your efforts, and having someone help you to say, no, I think that's where you position yourself. That's where your capability adds the most value in defence. And then where we talk to strategic partners, the primes, the OEMs, the tier ones, they are, whilst they've got great supply chain networks, sometimes they kind of miss out on those smaller guys and girls companies and organisations, and that's where we help to identify and signpost that to them as well. So yeah, we work both ways.
Does that mean that you have to decide, is this, how can I put it, is this good enough to help give a leg up into it?
Yeah, it's a really good point, Chris. And a lot of the work we do is managing expectations. So you can have the best product in the world that you think is relevant, but unless that sector needs it and is asking for it at that time, and more importantly, has a program of record and funding to be able to bring it in, then it's probably not going to make it. It may well be that in 5 years' time, it might be right, or it may be that that program just hasn't come along, or
tweak a little bit, and you're nearly there, kind of thing.
Or a company might say, right, we want to be selling this, and we go in and do a bit of a deep dive, because we always visit companies, we always do, talk to as many people as we can and understand their history and how they're developing their product or service. We say, well, actually, we think that is more relevant to the sector than this, you know, and therefore you may not be competing against as many people, because we always say to clients, 9 times out of 10, you've got to dislodge somebody in that supply chain. There isn't a little hole there waiting for you to jump into. So you've got to be really sure about where you're going with your product or service, that it's the right thing and that it solves a challenge or a problem for that client. It's not about the hard sell. And that's, you know, something else that we tell people is don't hard sell. It doesn't work in this sector.
I could carry on talking to you about this forever, but we have a producer off to my side that will give us both.
He's waving.
I know. We're going to move on next time.
Cool.
We're going to talk about the growth of SDO. Really interesting story when you had to make that decision. So make sure you join us for the next stage, because we're going to have 2 people that we're going to chat to.